Hi guys, and welcome to our fourth video of our food technology here at Nicholas Breakspear. Today we are going to be making apple crumble, although you may be deciding to do something slightly different and choose a different fruit. If you choose a different fruit from apple, then make sure you do some research first as to how to prepare and cook your fruit. Cool, let's get going. Right, first of all, I'm going to tell you what you need. So today you are going to need to have 100 grams of plain flour. You will need to weigh this at home, not in the lesson. So make sure you got 100 grams of plain flour, 25 grams of oats, 25 grams of sugar, although you may want a little bit more sugar if you want it sweet. Also, you'll need 25 grams of butter and one large cooking apple. You can use normal apples if you want, but you might need to go down the route of maybe 2 apples. Use green apples, something like a Granny Smith, not a Golden Delicious, because that's a bit floury. So nice sharp apples like this. Okay, what we're going to do here, we're going to start first with our apples. Now, just to save some time, I know you've already done your fruit fusion practical, so I know you already know how to cut fruit up. What I've done is I've cut and cored my apple and peeled it already. So this is my large cooking apple. What I'm going to do very quickly with a sharp knife is I'm going to make it slightly smaller, because the smaller I make these pieces, the faster that I can cook them and the more tender they will be. So I'm going to quickly just cut through my apple to make them slightly smaller. If you can, at this point, try to use your claw grip and bridge hold. Okay, there we go. Okay, these pieces of apple that are quite small are going to be put in a saucepan in a moment to make them slightly tender and slightly softer before we put them into a into a Pyrex dish to make our crumble. I'm just going to cut those up a little bit smaller, like so. I'm now going to put 2 tablespoons of water into my saucepan. So I'll literally run my tap, cold water, 2 tablespoons of water, and a little bit of sugar just to sweeten my apples, because the cooking apples and Granny Smiths are quite sharp. So I put a little bit of sugar into there as well. Okay, and then I'm ready to put my apples in. So I'll just put them in the bottom of the pan, making sure that they're sitting in the water, like so. In fact, with this apple it's so big I don't even need to use all of it. So that is sitting there like that. I think that's enough for now. And I'll put this onto the heat, onto the hob. I'll take it over to the hob. And while I'm over here in the hob, I can already start to preheat my oven. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to switch my oven on now, and I'm going to switch it on and put it up to 190 degrees centigrade. So that's going to preheat. So you can see my apples are very hot, they're already becoming softer. The next part of my process, obviously I'm going to keep an eye on my apples as well. Where you're going to be working, your ovens are going to be more sort of closer to where you're working, so it'll be easier for you to keep an eye on it. Obviously I'm going to keep on looking over there to make sure that they're not overcooking. What I'm going to do with my pre-prepared ingredients, so my flour, add my flour to my mixing bowl, my oats, so 100 grams of flour, 25 grams of oats, 25 grams of sugar, all going to go in this bowl here. I'm going to add to it my 25 grams of butter, but I'm going to cube it. So instead of throwing it in one large piece, I'm going to make smaller cubes. So I'm going to add these to my flour, oats and sugar. And then a new method for you to learn is a method called the rubbing in method. Rubbing in method is where we use our fingertips to manipulate the butter so we get ourselves a breadcrumbs sort of texture or consistency. So what I'm going to do with just my fingertips, not my palms, is I'm going to try and keep this mixture cool, but I'm going to try and break the butter into the flour and the oats. Right, at this point I don't want to be rushing. I don't want to be using my palms, because using my palms, this is where it's warm. I just want to be using my fingertips, which are the coolest part. And then I'm sort of breaking it up, I'm lifting it up, and slowly what I should be getting is a consistency of breadcrumbs. So at the moment, doing a great job. So I can get some air into it. If I get air into it, obviously I'm keeping it nice and cool, like so. Okay, don't be quick with this and think that you're going to try and shove your palms in. You're not making a dough. What you're trying to achieve is not a dough, you're trying to achieve breadcrumbs. So it's using those fingertips to keep the whole mixture cool. So as you can see, the butter is breaking up nicely into there now. Now at this point you might also want to think about things like adding cinnamon or mixed spices, sweet spices. If you want to do that, you can do. So you probably, in the lesson, you'll probably spend a little bit longer on this, getting a really good consistency. We're almost there now anyway, here. So again, I'm lifting it up, I'm getting some cool air into there. Trying to break up, trying to find those little bits of butter that have been left behind. Okay, meanwhile, my oven is preheating, so it's getting pretty close to 190 degrees centigrade, which is also good. Incidentally, if you are thinking about different fruits, do your research first. Also, if you were using apples, for example, you might want to think about fruits that go well with apples. You can use raisins in there as well. You could use raspberries with apples. You could use blackberries with apples. They go quite well. Right, I'm pretty much there now. So I've got a consistency now that looks like breadcrumbs, like a crumble mix. Okay, so I'm going to set this to one side and I'm going to get myself a small oven-proof dish. Now this is something you will need to bring from home. Remember, it's got to be quite small because the apple crumble is not going to be huge, so don't bring a large dish. Bring something around about this size. You can see the depth of it there as well. We'll put that down on there and I'm going to take my apples, which have now become slightly soft. I'm going to put them into my dish. So I'm going to evenly space them out at the bottom of the dish. Okay, at this point I might want to add some more sugar if I've got a sweet tooth onto those apples. That'll do for that. So as I said, I might put a little bit more sugar in there, just sprinkle it over the top. If I also want to, I could use some mixed spices. In this case, I'm going to use sweet cinnamon to go over the top. There we go. I might put a little bit of sweet cinnamon in with the crumble top as well. I'll give this one final mix, like so. And then I'm ready to add my topping. So, if you want to use a spoon in the lesson, you can do. To save myself some time now, I'm just going to use my hands. So just going over the top. Just push it over all of the apples, right into the corners. Go. And then I'm ready to put on my oven gloves. In this case I'm going to be very naughty and use a tea towel and open my oven. And I'm ready to put my crumble into the oven. When it's in the oven, it's going to take about 20 minutes to cook. So obviously whilst you are waiting for it to cook during those 20 minutes, you're going to be doing the big clear up that you've got, you've been doing so well with up to this point. When it comes out, You might want to think about bringing other things to go with it. As we mentioned already in class, you could bring cream, you can bring custard if you want to, you can bring ice cream if you want to, or if you've got your own personal choice of something else that you want to go with your apple crumble, obviously that's your choice. Okay, we're not going to wait 20 minutes for that to come out of the oven. 20 minutes time, I'm going to take that out, I'm going to let it cool a little bit, and I'm ready to eat it. Okay, guys, have a great evening. Looking forward to next week's practical lessons. Take care.